Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammy. My guest Janine Hernandez is here, and she's going to share a little bit about who she is and what she does and how she can help you. Janine, take it away.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I truly, truly appreciate it. So my name is Janine Hernandez, and I am a published author, a speaker, a coach, a mommy, a little bit of everything. But I am the founder of the Book Publishing Academy, and I coach aspiring authors on how to write, publish, and launch their books. It has been a passion of mine ever since I was about 9 years old. I've pretty much told my parents my whole life I'm gonna be an author. And it was interesting because it was never like teacher or police officer. It was always author. And
Right.
I had the opportunity to finally walk away from corporate America about 2 years ago, and I've been doing this full time ever since. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
That is so amazing because, a lot of times kids go through so many different things. Like you say, you're going to be whatever when you're a kid, and then, you end up doing whatever, but something else.
Yeah.
And the fact that you actually spoke that thing out at 9 years old and now you're living your dream,
Yep.
that's like phenomenal.
Yes, it
That
truly
is so
is.
phenomenal. All
Hmm.
right, so tell me, how did you get to that point where you decided enough was enough? And what were you doing in corporate America?
So I was in HR management. And I loved it. I'm a people person, so I loved that there was a problem in the company and I get to fix it. But we got to a point where they were talking to me about becoming HR director, and it was very clear to me, like needing to get certifications and certain trainings, that I was not into it. I was just not passionate about it. I was not excited about it. Most people would be excited. They're like, director, you can move up to
Yes.
VP. That's a big career move. And I just was like, So
Not me.
I had to really like dig deep and like, why are you feeling so blah about it? And it was because that wasn't my passion. I would wake up every single morning and think about books and how I could help people write books. And I was like, well, then do that. So I started to save about 6 months of my salary, and I was mentally preparing myself because it is a lot of mental work to be able to walk away from a biweekly paycheck. But I finally was able to do it. Everything aligned, and it was a mutual decision between myself and the company. And I am so happy now. So
That
happy.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it gives you the time factor that you need as well as pursuing what you enjoy and your passion.
Yep. And I love that it's flexible. Like today was a little bit of an off day. I woke up and I was so tired, so I went right back to sleep. But tomorrow will be a different day. Tomorrow I'll probably work a good 13 hours. So it just depends. It can fluctuate, it's flexible, and I'm my own boss. I can do what I want.
Right. And then it doesn't feel like work, right?
Exactly.
See, that's the way I feel. It's like my husband will say, can you come out of that room? Because this is my office slash workout room.
Hmm.
And he'll like, can you come out of that room? Because you've been in there like all day, like 10 hours or something. And I'm like, oh, have I? Because I enjoy, doing this work so much that I do, this podcast I love, but this is like my passion project because I really, really love doing this.
Hmm.
And so I definitely understand when you say that, you can do what you want because
Yep.
you're the boss.
Yep.
And then what type of mindset work did you do to prepare you to have your own business and actually be your own boss?
So obviously, I think for a lot of people, the number one thing that comes to mind is how am I going to pay my bills? Because you're so used to a biweekly paycheck, and at the time I was making good money. So, and I'm also a single mom, so it was just a lot of that going back and forth on that. But ultimately, honestly, you can do all the mindset work in the world, but I think for me, it was ultimately just surrendering and going with my intuition. Like, this is what God wants me to do. So you just
Nice.
need to do it. And whether you feel comfortable or you feel like you're ready or not, that's kind of where you're headed, right? And it was just like trusting that he wasn't going to allow me to fail, you know? So was I mentally prepared? No, I was scared. I was scared, a lot of fear, a lot of insecurities, a lot of uncertainties. But it's like falling back on that blanket of, he got you. You're fine. And I have never, till this day, it's been about 2 years that I've worked for myself. I've never gotten to a point where I've had to like penny pinch to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills. It's always just flowed and worked, and God has provided. So I will continue to just surrender.
That is so positive. Oh my God, that is powerful. Because the thing is so many times people second guess themselves and they wonder, whether it's going to work out or whether they have a good idea and all these things. And the fact that you were able to, push past that, or actually, it sounds more like get in the flow.
Yeah, and I, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I still have those thoughts, but you just have to go with it. And when you're being led by your true passion, you're doing it because you truly believe in it, and it's something that I've wanted to do since I was 9. There's not going to be anything that's going to get in my way or stop me. You know what I mean? So,
Yes. That is so powerful because, how many people, because how old are you?
34.
Yeah. How many people, allow that kind of stuff to just stop them and just block them and just, and even though they know that they have this thing that's just burning inside of them, that they want to create or that they want to do or that they want to become or whatever it is, it's like, they sit down and they think about that bi-weekly paycheck.
Or they think about insurance too. I hear people say like,
Yes.
I'm ready to walk away, but I need the medical insurance. And I'm like, there's still options for entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? And for me at least, like I just tell myself I'm healthy, I'm fine, everything's great, and I never get sick. So it's just like people, we will find the smallest thing to hold us back from taking
Yes.
that leap. Yeah.
Yes. What would you say to somebody, if that's what one of the things they're saying? Because I've heard that too. They're like, oh, but I need my insurance because, my medicine costs, whatever, whatever, and all these things. And it's like they'll find all kinds of reasons,
Um,
not to do the thing.
So there's still options. When you leave a job, you still either get Cobra, or you're able to get, state insurance. Whether you're still gonna have to pay for insurance regardless. Or if you choose not to take insurance, it's sometimes even cheaper if you're a type of person like me that never gets sick. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
once I like really broke it down, like the amount of times, I go to my woman yearly, and I buy my vitamins, and by the time I broke it down, it was actually cheaper than what I was paying for insurance at a job. So um yeah, I think sometimes it could be an excuse. Now again, everyone's situation is different. There are some people that might have
Yes.
medical problems, and but there are still options. I had to go to urgent care the other day because I got bit by something and I had a huge allergy. And I was like, hey, I don't have insurance. And they're like, oh, we got you. We have a program. It was like $30 a month. And I'm like, you can afford that. Like, so it's there's options out there. Don't allow that to hold you back.
Yes, I agree. And I think that's so important to share because a lot of people are really there and they're like, oh, well, or I think I've even heard people say, but I got my 401k. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Because you know what happens when the market crashes, right?
Hmm.
You lose.
And you can still invest in stocks. There's options. You can still do
Yeah,
other things. So
exactly. I
yeah.
think I think just like you said, it's almost like you have to get it in your mind and just make a decision and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And whatever it takes,
Hmm.
this is what I'm going to do and this is where I'm going with this.
Hmm.
So that sets me on fire because it's like every time I hear somebody say, oh, I can't, I'm so, I love doing this and I'm so good at this, and I wish I could just do it all the time, but I got this job, and that's just like, to me, it's so unfortunate because you're not passionate about it.
It's a mindset shift is what I call it. I
Yes.
sometimes hear too, I'm a single mom. And I'm like, well, I'm a single mom too. So let's talk about it. Like I just like let's have a conversation because I'm a single mom too and I'm able to make it happen. So, whatever I need to do to help you get past that self-limiting belief that you might have about why you can't pursue your dream because you are a single mom. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
let's have the conversation. So it could be a multitude of things, but yeah. Yeah, that's kind of my journey.
So do you so did you have the support of your family when you decided, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur?
So at the beginning, so I would say about 4 years prior to me leaving corporate America, I was doing like multi-level marketing and things like that on the side. I don't think that they were that supportive. They were looking at me like, "What are you doing?" But over the years, I've been able to almost prove myself. And so no, when I walked away from corporate America, they were fine. And I remember I asked my mom one day, I was like, Mom, get, do you ever fear for me as your daughter, being a single mom, doing this on my own? And she said, never. She's like, I know that you will do everything in your power to make sure you guys eat. So she's like, I don't worry. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, that makes me feel really good. So,
Yes, because that means that they believe in you.
yeah.
And a lot of times that's one of the things that people are missing because they don't have anybody to believe in them, Because family is like wonderful sometimes. And I can say that because I've done like so many different things. And I know sometimes they'll be like, what's she doing now?
Here she goes.
Here she goes. What she want? What she selling? What she peddling? And I've heard that from so many other people that I've interviewed. It's like, okay. So I just wondered how that worked for you. So going forward, what is the thing that you love the most about what you do?
For me, I think it's helping people be vulnerable to share their story. I love that part. I love the part of people being afraid to do it and then me helping them overcome that fear and then seeing their book in their hand. Like that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the best part.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. That is amazing. Now, have you come across a situation where you had somebody that wanted to write their book, but say maybe they were afraid or they were thinking about judgment? I mean, how did you handle that, or how would you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, it actually happens a lot. I have a few authors who have been working with me for over a year and they started writing their book. They're almost done writing their book, but they completely stopped because they allowed the fear to stop
To
them.
shut them down?
So it's continuously following up with them and having those conversations and let's talk about it. Why are you in this season? But also respecting their season. Everyone, you'll be ready. You'll know when you're going to be ready, right? So I can't push you and I can't force you. And I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, you got this. Like, we can do this. Let's push past it. But a person will take action when they're ready. So it's just being there for them, acknowledging how they feel, understanding them because it took me 17 years to publish my book. I allowed fear to put it on the back burner, and so it's just being patient. Also, giving tough love where it needs to be, but at the end of the day, I can't force anyone. So
So you're actually a coach.
yes,
I was gonna say because that's what that sounds like.
yeah,
Because yeah. So you have to really let people be who they are and be where they are without giving in to that place that they are.
yeah.
And that's very important. I love that. Okay, because I wondered about that because I know for myself, I wrote my book 3 times. One time I wrote it and it died in a computer.
That
The
happened.
second time I printed it off because I said I'm not gonna have that happen again. I printed it off and I put it up and then I ended up leaving it in a storage that I lost. So this time when I wrote it, I was like, you know what, this has got to be. But I noticed that each time the story morphed. I mean, it was the same, but then it had some changes.
It got
You
better.
know, yeah, yes, absolutely, and And then even at the point of actually publishing it, I still kind of was like, I don't know if I should do this, because it was my story.
Hmm.
And I was like, how is everybody going to feel, and I thought about all the judgment that I possibly you know, could get from it. So yeah, so it was really that place. So when you encounter people like that, because I know that you have, what do you tell them?
So I personally go through that. And I tell people that all the time because they're like, oh my God, I'm so scared of what people are going to think and my family and friends. And I tell them, well, me too. Like I've written 6 books and every single book I get scared. Usually the week prior to launching, I'm in tears because I'm like, oh crap, it's getting real.
Here we
Honestly,
go.
I think every author goes through that. I think every single author goes through that. It's completely normal. And I just tell them, like, you just got to feel it and then move on. Like let's cry for a little bit and then let's move on because it's just a feeling for right now. But if you allow that to stop you, it'll always stop you. So, and then once you publish and you see that people really, if people do have comments, it's like brush them off. But for the most part, people will support you and they're excited and, it's different. So all these thoughts that you had in your head, sometimes they're not even like existent.
Right, because they're just thoughts.
Hmm.
And the thing is, the thing I love about a belief is that it can be changed.
True.
It's not a fact, it's just a belief.
True.
And I love when people tell me stuff and I'm like, no, that's not even true.
Yep.
I mean, if you think about that, or either I say, listen to what you said. Does that even make sense?
Hmm.
You know? And it's crazy how, people can really be all in their heads. And the thing I love is that when you're able to coach people and help them to get out of their heads, and to actually more step into their heart, and then more actually just doing the thing.
Hmm.
I think that's just, to me, that's like fire.
Yep.
So, what lights you up about your business besides helping people to be vulnerable and share their story?
I love to see the end result. I've had a couple authors on the news or hit Amazon's bestsellers, and that fires me up. It's like, yes. I also, for some reason, I'm a book hoarder, so I love books. So receiving their book in the mail, that fires me up. Like, oh my God, I helped create this, That gets me excited.
That is awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. So, do you have a strategy to help people to get to the Amazon bestseller? Is that something that you do when you help people to publish?
Nope, I don't personally do it. I have a colleague that does all of the Amazon's bestsellers, so I usually refer them to him and he does his work. He works his magic.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So you do some collaboration. So do you actually do the editing or do you have a team?
I have a team. I have an editor. I have a couple of editors, but I do not edit books. No.
Gotcha.
Not my area of expertise.
And that's important. We're going to talk about that right now.
Mhm.
How working in your what did the guy say, the zone of genius.
Mhm.
So when you work in your zone of genius, then you're able to show up and do the things that you do,
Yep.
and then allow other people to show up and do the things that they do.
Yep.
That's
So
powerful.
true.
Hmm.
And for me, like I've become okay with the fact that I'm going to write a book and it's going to have 10 million misspelled words and grammar issues, and I've just become okay with it. But that's fine. I can find an editor that's going to help me put it all together, and I don't have to be perfect. And I think that's what held me back the first time was I wanted it to be perfect, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. So I just accepted that as a writer, I misspell words and I have grammar issues, and that's okay because that's not my area of expertise. That's why I hire the professional editor to help me with that. And then that's great because you have a team. You can collaborate with other people.
Yes, that is powerful and perfect, actually.
Hmm.
um, because so many people have that notion in their mind that they have to be perfect, even though they want to write, they love writing, it's what they want to do and they're passionate, but they have this thing in their mind like, oh, I got to be perfect, everything has to be perfect. But I tell people that's why you have an editor,
Hmm.
to help you be perfect.
Hmm.
That is awesome. So what is your last book about?
So my last book is called The Light in Times of Darkness. And so there's two parts to it. There's the dark part and the light part. And I just talk about situations in which I've been in that were not so pleasant and how I choose to still be a boss and overcome them and live life with a smile on my face and not live like a victim. So I kind of walk through a little bit of the dark negative stuff, but how that was all a part of my lesson, right? It was all a part of my journey. And I just dive deep into like how I healed myself, or how I'm still in the process of healing myself, right? Because healing is a lifelong thing.
Yes, it's a journey.
Um, yeah, it's a journey, but yeah, I just walk through that. And so I'm very excited about it. It's going to come out. I actually received the edited copy today, so hopefully by next week we start working on the book cover and it'll be ready by October.
That is awesome.
Yes.
October. Okay, so we're going to be on the lookout for The Light in Times of Darkness.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So we're going to be on the lookout for that book, y'all. So we're going to grab that and make sure that we support Janine in that. Um, I love books as well. Do you prefer Kindle or do you prefer to hold them in your hand?
I love them in my hand. And I like to see them in my bookshelf. But I do still buy some books on Kindle just because when you're at the doctor's office or at the supermarket in line, those little extra spaces in the day, I love to just pick up the Kindle and I'll read a few pages and then I go back to what I was doing. So for me, a Kindle works.
Yeah, I like that too. I love audibles.
Yeah, those are good as well.
hmm I actually was trying to get my book on audibles. Oh my god, that is a feat.
Yeah, it's a whole process.
It is a whole process. It's like, oh my god. So I thought about it one day. I said, maybe that's just not what I'm going to do. But I kind of have just put it on the side, right now. It's like I'm like work on it later. I can't really focus on that right now.
Yeah, it's a big project.
It
So,
is. It
yeah,
is. It is because they don't take Zoom recordings.
no.
So I was like, oh my god, I did the whole thing on Zoom, and then I went to upload it, and they're like, oh no, we don't take Zoom recordings.
Yeah, it has to be done
What?
professionally.
Yeah, I just sent my Zoom recording to somebody on Fiverr to do whatever it is they do.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they those people on Fiverr can fix it all up. So
yeah. I love the way they do. It's like they just remaster it all, and so yeah, yeah. All right. Let me see. I have one other question. So, say if someone comes to you and they say, "Oh, I really want to write a book, and I've been wanting to write this book for 25 years or whatever." What is the process that you take them through in order to help them to get their manuscript out into the world?
So, what I have is a book publishing academy, and what I do is I help them write, publish, and launch their books. And it is online courses that teach you the full process. So, we actually start with the author mindset and a lot of those getting over those self limiting beliefs. But once we get through that, we start with an outline. We go through the writing process, we go through the publishing process for print and ebook. And then we go a little deeper into book launch, marketing and advertisement, and building a brand that attracts media coverage. We do have some sales trainings as well, but pretty much I walk you through the full author business from start to finish.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So you said when we were talking in the green room that you were rebranding. So what are you doing?
Well, so I'm not rebranding, I'm calling it a relaunch. So I've been in business for about 6 years, and last year I launched the Book Publishing Academy. I had no website. The only thing I had was a logo. But it took off during the pandemic. I mean, I think I had like 20 people sign up in a matter of like 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I've been on the go, on the go, on the go, and I barely got around to creating a website, creating a symbol, figuring out our core value, like all of that stuff. So I'm just reintroducing ourselves this week on social media. We did a little bit of branding videos. like introducing who we are, why, why we do the book publishing, why we want to help people publish their books and share their stories. So it's just a reintroduction.
That is so nice. That
Yeah.
is so nice. All right. So now do you also advise people to do the book cover first, or is that you advise it last, or how do you tell people how to do that?
I usually advise it last simply because it all depends on how many pages your book is. So you need a final manuscript. If you have and this is what my illustrator, not my illustrator, my graphic designer told me recently. He's like, I really appreciate that you have them wait until the end to do the book cover. He's like, because every time that you change the amount of pages or all of that, it changes the specification of the book cover for the print company. He's
Oh,
like, so every time we do that, he's like, I have to go into Adobe, whatever it is, the software that he uses. He's like, and I have to resize everything, and that takes time. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I always just suggest wait until you have a final edited and formatted book, and we know exactly how many pages your book is going to be. That way, they can start working on it and create the right formatted book cover for you.
oh. Now that makes sense.
Hmm.
That makes sense. Because I often wonder why people waited till the end. Because it's like, because in my mind, I think if you could have the book cover, then you can start promoting the book way earlier. But you can still promote the book even without a cover.
Yeah, and I mean you can create like an ebook cover because that it's just you just have to upload a JPEG, so it's pretty easy. But when it comes to print, it's very specific and it has to be a specific size, and even the spine of the book has to be a specific size. So any little thing that can throw it off, it's gonna create more work for them. So I just tell everyone just wait until you're done.
Sounds like a plan.
Mhm.
All right. Well, let everyone know if there's something that um you're promoting right now.
So right now, just the book. It will be available for pre-order soon, and then with my relaunch or my rebrand, I am reintroducing my book publishing academy. Last year, when I launched, I had 30 videos, online videos that taught you how to publish. But right now, we're about to relaunch with 68. So yes, I've added so much more content and value into it. So we are going to have a special for the month of August. So check that out.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And let the people know where they can connect with you.
The best way is social media. So you can find me on Instagram at Janine Hernandez underscore. Or you can email me at info@janinehernandez.com. Those are the two best ways.
Awesome. And I'll have all that in the description of the video and the audio as well. That way people can connect with you easier. All
Awesome.
right. So thank you so much for joining me, Janine. It has been so much fun. Um, and I'm just super excited just to be a part of your journey. And thank you so much for coming on
Thank you
because
so much for having me. I truly appreciate you.
oh yeah, no worries. It's been good. Because the thing is I love supporting entrepreneurs. That's just something that the spirit gave me to do. Like I said, this for me is a passion project because I truly do love talking to different people and getting different perspectives and I'm really, like I said, I don't go and do a lot of background on people. So I'm truly learning just like everybody else is.
Hmm.
And I love it. I love it.
Love that.
So again, thank you for joining me. Oh, I was trying to make sure that thing didn't go off. Make sure, thank you for joining me and make sure that you check us out and make sure that you connect with Janine if you are ready to write your book and her book writing academy and look for her book that's coming out and tell them the name of the book again.
The light in times of darkness.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're checking for that and checking social media, especially Instagram, correct?
Yeah.
And uh and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so
Thank you
much for
so much.
joining.
Bye.
Bye.